Good morning. This is an orientation of the course content of the course of PLA 2600, Wills, Trusts, and Estate Administration. I should add before getting started that there are some possible noises in the background that you'll hear. First, we have my husband who is mowing the lawn. It's a Saturday morning, and that's just how he does things. And then there's Max. Max is my dog, and in this picture looks pretty comfortable and happy, and the dealio is that he can bark, or he does bark, at just about everything, and it's quite spontaneous. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Max is upset about something. So the truth of the matter is, I just have never been a very good dog parent, but look at that cute little face. How in the world could you possibly not love Max? But it'll scare you if you hear him bark, because he just goes off. Now, Brad, my husband, he's cute, but not as cute as Max. So now that we got that over with, let's move on and know that there's a little noise in the background, and I apologize for that. Sorry. This course is designed to offer the legal assistant trainee a general understanding of the techniques and procedures involved in the preparation of wills and trusts, estate planning, income, gift, and inheritance taxes, probating of estates, and estate accounting. Alright, so let's break the course description down. I like doing this with a lot of things, including the law and something like this. Let's break it down into pieces and parts. So we're going to cover basic estate planning, the preparation of wills and trusts, income, gift, and inheritance taxes, and probating of estates and estate accounting. The area of that list, called Basic Estate Planning from the previous slide, will include an overview of basic estate planning. We'll start with, where does the law come from? The law of estate planning and probate. Where does it come from? Second, we'll go through property issues. We need to understand how property is owned, and that leads to intestate succession and kinship, because based on who dies and their relationship, their kinship with others, is how an estate or a piece of property would pass intestate, which means without a will, based on their kinship. That's just how it works. So we're going to look at that type of concept in a couple of assignments in this course. In addition, there are things known as, we call this basic topic, this overall topic, advanced directives. Advanced directives are the power of attorney, the healthcare surrogate, and living wills. The next topical area will be preparation of wills and trust. What is a will? Learn about what a will is, how we make a will, how we modify a will, how we cancel a will, can we change a will. Those are the basic first steps into preparing a will or a will document. And then we're going to go into how we draft and how we execute. How does someone sign a will? We all know probably it should have a signature on it if that's possible, but what are the legal requirements for a properly executed will? And how do we store them? Law firms are often asked, will you store this will for me, by a client? Or maybe the client doesn't know. Where should I put this will? Should I give this to you, this original to you, lawyer, or should I put this in a safe deposit box, give it to the person I've nominated as personal representative? There are certain choices, and some in some circumstances are better than others. We'll cover that. Trusts is the next topic. And what is a trust? What types of trusts are there? What types of what are good reasons for entering in or establishing a trust? And once we've figured that out, how do we draft a trust? The next topic is always a favorite, even, and I say that jokingly. Taxes is never a fun topic to talk about, and it's even harder sometimes to understand. And in this course, though, we have to understand that wills, trusts, and estates have tax issues, if you will, based on tax laws. And some of the tax laws that we're going to, the tax laws that we're going to examine in a very brief way so that you gain knowledge. All right, so you're not a CPA or a tax accountant or a lawyer. You're a paralegal, and you need to have some clarity about what tax laws relate to the areas of wills, trusts, and estates. These include income taxes, gift taxes, inheritance taxes, fiduciary obligations, and estate tax returns. The next topic we cover is probating of estates and estate accounting. So these areas, probating and accounting, really fall into what we call estate administration. How do I administer the estate of a person who has died? So opening an estate, getting letters of administration issued, so the person who is personal representative of the estate that can manage the estate, can can sell things in the estate, can collect money from creditors of the estate, you name it. That's important. Inventorying the estate property. That's why in the beginning of the course we examine property issues. What is estate property? And unless we know what estate property is, we can't write down a list called an inventory of what an estate of a deceased person consists of. So we'll prepare an inventory of an estate property after preparing a petition for administration, which opens the estate and gets the personal representative letters of administration. In addition, part of administration of an estate is paying creditors. People who die tend to have money, they tend to owe money to others, and these claims have to be dealt with in administering the estate. So creditors there might be credit card claims, there might be tax claims, there might be claims for medical bills of the deceased for their last illness, or perhaps the funeral expenses. All of these types of claims we need to examine from the standpoint of what types of claims are allowable, what types of claims should the personal representative pay, and what types of claims are not allowable. In other words, sometimes, in some cases, a creditor may not get paid at all because of the structure of the kinship of the family and the property that the deceased person owns. Now you should be able to make at least a tiny connection to the earlier part of the course where we set the stage for property and and kinship in those two particular areas. That's relationships among people, and creditor claims in terms of administering the estate. There's more to that. That's just a quick nugget for you. Then we need to close an estate, and to close an estate, a final accounting of the estate has to be presented to the beneficiaries in the court, explaining to the beneficiaries in the court all the estate property that was given to others because they're entitled to it, beneficiaries because they were entitled to it, pursuant to a will or intestate succession. That's when a person dies without a will. That needs to be accounted for. Creditor claims. Who did we pay? Did we pay the funeral expenses? If we did pay the funeral expenses, how much? So a final accounting is just like the words sound. When you finish the estate, when the personal representative finishes the estate, there needs to be 0 left. Not 1 dime left in the estate. And if there's nothing left, and we started with $100,000, we need to explain to the court what happened to that $100,000. That then is followed by officially closing the estate, asking the court to release the personal representative of his or her obligations to the estate, and then it ends and the day is done. All right, so those are the areas we're going to cover. You're going to do some assignments to apply these areas. We'll have some discussions. We'll have some quizzes. You'll look at a chart of a family and explain how property would be administered in an estate, and based upon kinship, we're going to look at how to modify or revoke a will, because if someone already has a will, they might want to change it or completely make it completely go away. Then we're going to look at powers of attorney, such as a healthcare power of attorney. We're going to look at living wills. What is a living will? How do we draft one? Then we're going to draft a will based on a case scenario. And we're also, then next we'll look at the different types of trusts. You'll be given an assignment where you're asked to explain the different types of trusts. And then we're going to draft a trust. Students will put together in their Microsoft Word or other word processing software a trust. And then we're going to get the personal representative of a mock estate appointed to the estate to administer it. And so we'll talk about what kind of duties that person is going to have, what they're going to actually be responsible for, and look at the law that covers that. We're going to open the estate with a petition for administration. We're going to look at one quick little tax form that has to be done in order to, for the personal representative, it's called an IRS form SS-4. And it's just a simple one-page fill-in form that's sent to the IRS and asks the IRS to recognize that there's a personal representative of the estate. Then we're going to do an inventory, we're going to actually prepare that, and then look at creditor claims and write a letter to a creditor explaining what their rights are. And creditor preferences. There is a difference if an estate has, let's say an estate has $10,000 and there were claims of funeral bills of, let's say, $5,000, medical bills of $2,000, and so on. And let's say they're all together, all the bills, including credit cards, funeral, and the others I mentioned, amount to more than the estate is worth. Who is going to get paid, and in what priority? So we've got to look at the priority of creditor claims. They call these creditor preferences sometimes. And some creditors will never get paid because there are exemptions under the law that protect the family. So when a person dies, they don't leave their family completely destitute. And because their creditors are able to take everything, the home, the car, the household furnishings, for example, are properties that under the right circumstances will not be attacked by creditors. What else? Ethics. We, as always in all of our courses at SCF in the paralegal program, we cover ethics. What does the paralegal need to know about ethics in the context of probate and estate planning. So that's it. And that final accounting, we'll also do the final accounting. We'll be busy. We have 14 or 15 units, or lessons I should say, to cover, and the areas that we won't cover are things like elder law. That's a big issue today. That would be a separate course altogether, because it is so time consuming, I should say. It's not really complicated, it just takes too much time to include in this course. Alright, so I'm ready to get started, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.